Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. In this episode, we're talking about the best elk hunting strategy for public land elk hunters. And I don't mean one call sequence or just one secret basin or one magic terrain feature. I mean the actual strategy that helps you make better decisions when the hunt starts changing or gets challenging. Because public land elk hunting is not about having information anymore. Most hunters have the same maps, apps, a lot of the same waypoints, videos, podcasts, and plenty of advice out there. The difference is knowing what matters most right now. Is it wind? Is it access? Is it pressure? Is it bedding security? Is it timing? Is it fresh sign? Is it a bull response? The best elk hunters I know how to sort those clues and choose the next highest value move. And that's what this episode is about, building a decision system that helps you hunt elk with more purpose, confidence, and consistency. If you're not familiar with who I am, I've been hunting and guiding Western big game for over 34 years, and I've been a professional strength conditioning and nutrition coach for more than 30 years, and I'm here to help you become a more successful and consistent elk hunter. So before we get into specific tactics, we need to start with the foundation. Public land elk hunting is a priority stack. That means every clue really matters, but not every clue matters equally. Fresh tracks, a bugle, a good-looking bench or a wallow, a north-facing timber bench, a road above you, and shifting thermals can all be useful information in their own ways. The key is knowing what deserves your attention first. Wind and access usually sit at the top of that priority list. If you can't get into position cleanly, the rest of the plan just gets weaker. Next is current elk security. Where can elk spend daylight and feel comfortable with today's pressure? Then you weigh fresh sign, timing, terrain value, and whether your setup can actually become a shot opportunity. That's the higher level strategy. You're not just collecting clues, you're ranking them, filtering them, and then choosing the next best move. Once you start ranking the clues instead of treating them all the same, the next part of the system is learning to slow the hunt down before you make your next move. A lot of elk hunters ask, where should I go next? But the better question is, what does this move create for me? Every move should give you something. Better wind, better access, better information, better positioning, better timing, a cleaner setup. If the move doesn't improve one of those things, it might just be burning energy and adding pressure. Before you drop into a drainage or climb to the next ridge or chase a bugle or circle towards fresh sign that you saw days earlier, pause long enough to define the purpose. Does this move put you closer to elk without exposing your scent? Does it help you see more country? Does it protect the area for later at the same time? The best move is the one that creates a better overall hunt, right? Once every move has a purpose, the next layer is understanding that terrain only matters when it matches what elk need in that moment. A bench, a saddle, a burn, a wallow, north slopes, a timber pocket. They're not just valuable because it looks good on a map. They're valuable when it solves a problem for elk. If it's hot and dry, water and shaded security might climb higher in importance. If pressure's heavy near roads and trailheads, overlooked cover and rougher access might become more valuable. If cows are moving through a drainage during the rut, the terrain that connects bedding, feeding, and safe travel can all become the center of the hunt. And that's why the best strategy is not chasing features, it's reading their function. When you ask what that terrain does for elk right now, the map starts turning into a real hunting plan. Now, once terrain has a job, the next layer is learning to read pressure as useful information instead of just a problem. Public land pressure can actually help you understand the hunt faster if you let it. Roads, trailheads, camps, glassing points, calling noise, horse traffic, and popular access routes can all show you where human activity is likely to concentrate. So once you see that pattern, you can start predicting where elk might choose more security away from all of those. That doesn't always mean they leave the country either. Often they shift into places that give them better cover, better wind advantage, less visibility, or sometimes that's a side hill pocket. Sometimes it's a timbered bench above the trail. Sometimes it's a quiet drainage that looks less impressive on the map. When you read pressure correctly, it becomes part of your strategy. It helps you choose cleaner access, smarter setups, and the next place elk might feel comfortable using in daylight.
Hey,
If you hunt public land elk and you're tired of grinding through random seasons, I built the elk hunting series of ebooks for you. Most hunters don't struggle because they lack effort. They struggle because they lack a system. And that's exactly why I built the elk hunting ebook series as a complete progressive framework for Western elk hunters who are done guessing and ready to hunt with intention. Volume 1 is going to be Foundations and Reality. I reset your mindset and expose the assumptions that quietly wreck seasons. In Volume 2, Finding Elk and Understanding Pressure, you'll learn how elk actually move under pressure so you can anticipate instead of react. In Volume 3, Terrain, Wind, and Position, I break down how to use landscape and thermals to consistently create opportunities. In Volume 4, Calling, Silence, and Pressure, sound becomes a decision tool, not an impulse. In Volume 5, Bow Hunting Execution, we're talking about close range strategy so you can finish your encounters. And in Volume 6, Late Season and Post-Rut, we're talking about how elk shift after the rut and how to adapt when others quit. This is a system built for consistency. This isn't theory. It's a structured system to help you find elk, read country, and make confident decisions every season. Buy each volume individually or bundle them all to save 50% off at backboneunlimited.com. Now, once pressure becomes useful information to you, the next part of the system is controlling your own impact on the hunt. Every elk hunter leaves a footprint, but a lot of times we pretend like the pressure is just everybody else. But your scent, your noise, your calling, your boot tracks, your skyline movement, your repeated glassing spots, and unnecessary passes through good cover all add up. The goal is not to hunt timid, but the goal is to hunt more cleanly. And that means choosing routes that protect your wind. It means checking sign without walking through the center of a bedding area. It means calling when the setup supports it, not just because the woods feel quiet. It means leaving yourself options for the evening, the next morning, and the next day's hunt. This is the biggest difference between covering country and really building opportunity. A clean decision keeps more doors open for you. The best public land strategy does not just find elk. It helps you stay in the game longer with more quality opportunities. Once you're controlling your impact, the next part of the system is understanding that the best elk area is not always the one with the most elk sign. It's the area you can actually hunt cleanly. A basin can look perfect on the map. It can have feed, cover, benches, water, and fresh sign. But if every access route sends your scent into the bedding cover or forces you across open country or puts you there after the best movement window, that spot becomes a lot harder to hunt well. And that's why access has to be part of the strategy from the beginning. Morning access, evening access, thermal shifts, exit routes, noise, skyline exposure, and where your scent goes after you set up all matter. A good elk spot becomes a great elk spot when you can enter it, hunt it, and leave it with the area still intact for the next opportunity. The next layer is learning to judge every spot by whether it's actually huntable. A great looking elk area only matters if you can access it the right way. Feed, cover, benches, water, rubs, wallows, and fresh tracks all have a lot of value for us, right? But they don't matter as much if your approach gives away the setup before the hunt really develops. And that's why access has to be studied just as hard as elk habitat. How do you get in with the morning thermals? How do you hunt it when the wind starts lifting? Can you leave without cutting through the bedding cover? Can you reach the setup before elk move? This is where strategy gets more complete. You're not just asking where elk might be, you're asking where you can hunt them well. The best spot is the one that gives you both elk opportunity and clean access into it. Now, once you know which areas are actually huntable, the next layer is building your day around windows instead of just movement. Public land elk hunting is full of a lot of short windows, right? First light transitions, a stable morning thermal, a midday bedding edge setup, a bull that answers once and gives you a direction, an evening feeding movement, a weather change, maybe a pressure shift from other hunters moving through the country. The strategy is recognizing which window you're actually in and and what that allows you to do. Morning might give you movement and sound. Midday might give you stability, shade, and a chance to reposition with purpose. Evening might give you feeding movement, but only if your access and wind are already solved ahead of time. This keeps the hunt more organized. You're not just wandering until something happens. You're asking, what is the best opportunity this time of day? What can that do for me? What can it give me right now? That's how you hunt with timing instead of just hoping. Now, once you start hunting by windows, the next layer is making sure your calling matches the situation you've created. Calling works best when it supports a good setup. The sound matters, but the position matters a whole lot more. Before you call, you've got to ask whether the elk has a believable path to come in, whether the wind gives you enough time, whether the terrain hides your movement, and whether you have actual shooting lanes before the elk reaches your scent. That's where calling becomes part of the strategy instead of just noise in the drainage or the strategy itself. A soft cow call, a location bugle, or a more aggressive sequence can all have a place, but only when the setup gives that sound a purpose. The goal isn't to call more. The goal is to call from a position that actually makes sense to create an opportunity. When your calling, wind, terrain, and setup all line up, your sound then becomes much more powerful. Now, once your calling supports the setup instead of leading the hunt, the next layer is choosing the highest value move available to you. Every elk hunt gives you options. You can climb, you can drop, you can circle, you can wait, you can call, you can glass, you can back out, you can shift drainages, or you can stay with fresh sign, and many more options. The key is not choosing the most exciting move a lot of times. The key is choosing the move that improves your odds the most while protecting the hunt you're on. A high value move usually does at least one of three things. It improves your position, it improves your information, or it improves your timing. It might put you above elk before the thermal switch. It might help you confirm fresh use without walking through bedding cover. It might move you away from pressure and into a cleaner access route. That is a decision filter. Does this move give me a better chance, or does it just make me feel busy? The best next move should build your opportunities. Now, once you start choosing the highest value move for you, the whole strategy is going to come together as a repeatable system. And that's the real advantage for public land elk hunters. You're not relying just on one perfect spot or one perfect bugle or one perfect morning. You're building a way to keep making better decisions as the hunt changes. Read the pressure. Check the wind. Identify what elk need right now. Choose terrain that serves that need, right? Study whether the access is clean. Hunt the best window. Match your calling to the setup. Then make the next move that improves your position, information, or timing. That whole process is going to give you a lot more confidence because it keeps the hunt organized. Even when elk are quiet, other hunters are moving, or the plan changes, you still have a way to move yourself forward. Best public land elk strategy is not one tactic, and it's certainly not just hoping. It's using a system that keeps pointing you towards better opportunities. The best elk hunting strategy for public land is not about having one perfect answer either. It is about building a decision system you can trust when the hunt starts changing or things get more challenging. When you understand how to rank the clues, every part of the mountain starts giving you better information. Wind tells you how to approach, pressure tells you where elk might feel more secure, terrain tells you what elk can do there, fresh sign is going to tell you how current the elk use might be right now, timing is going to tell you when the opportunity is most likely to open for you. And that's when elk hunting starts feeling more organized. You're not just reacting to every bugle or track or trailhead or glassing point. You're making cleaner decisions with more purpose. And when you can keep making the next best decision, you're going to give yourself a much better chance to stay in the hunt, stay confident, and create real opportunity on public land. Now, if this episode made you realize you need a better elk plan this season, don't just watch another video and hope it all comes together. Build the plan now. If you want to study my full system on your own, start with my elk hunting ebook series. If you want weekly guidance, accountability, and a place place to ask your questions as season gets closer, join Team Backbone. And if you want my eyes on your actual hunt plan before season, your maps, terrain, access, pressure points, and strategy, book an elk hunt plan audit with me so we can get you squared away. The hunters who are ready in September are the ones who start tightening the plan now. Go to backboneunlimited.com and choose the path that fits where you're at right now. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each of you. I look forward to seeing you in the comments. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.